Alright, so you've been asking me to check out Vincent Livings' livestream, episode 3 of course, and yesterday, after playing Jollibee's Phase 2, that game is lit, not gonna lie to you, and I'm gonna keep making videos on that. By the way, thank you for the support on the last video. I have took the time, I sat through the entire livestream, not once, but twice, and there are 10 topics that needs separate videos starting today. Yes, I'm not promising you that I will make videos every single day, but there are so many topics he confirmed that we need to talk about. Anyways, today's video is solely gonna be focused on one thing and one thing only. Now, at the end of the live stream, he said that he had some announcements, and the only announcement he made was this. At 55 minutes, he said this.
So the first announcement is one I think you guys will all like, and I was actually going to show something for this, but you'll have to forgive me. I couldn't get the setup right to show it. So what we're going to do instead is put out a trailer soon. So you'll get to see it through that. Basically, we have Dark Deception multiplayer is now a real thing. So for anyone who's been asking for Dark Deception to have a multiplayer mode, bugging us for that, we are working on it. And it's actually playable. We have a build ready at the moment, and it's coming. You guys will get to see a build or a trailer of that gameplay pretty soon. It's not going to show everything, but it'll show visually what our combat is like, how it plays, and it's also going to be a standalone game. It is not a tack on to Dark Deception. This is going to be its own thing. It's going to be a standalone game, and it's going to have a number of characters, not all Dark Deception. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
What? Dark Deception multiplayer? Hold up, bro. Nah. See, this is where things gets interesting. Now I know what y'all thinking. Hey, Smack. Come on, man, it's April Fool's joke. This live stream was literally on the 1st April of 2020. How can you believe him? Well, at first, I wasn't doing anything, especially not this video, but at 58 minutes, he said this.
We're just going to go straight into our prize winner. And that last announcement was real. That's not a fool's, you know. That's not April Fool's.
That's not April Fool's.
Yup, ladies and gentlemen, he said that the fake announcements were the release date and something else, but that would be too cruel for the community, so he didn't do that, and he didn't basically went that path. I personally believe that they had no intention of doing this on 1st April or any April Fool's joke in the first place. It just happened that Vincent Livings had time to do a live stream on the 1st April. Now, of course, as you all know, me and Vincent Livings, we are good friends. Of course, we follow each other on Twitter. By the way, follow me on Twitter at @SmackNPie. I'll follow you back, hopefully. And I just wanted to clear up. I basically wanted to ask him face to face. At first, I was like, hey, what's up with the Dark Deception multiplayer? Is there a Dark Deception multiplayer coming soon? And I would have gotten a straight, honest answer. But you know what? I was like, no, let's play like everyone else. And I didn't ask him because I want to be surprised just like you guys. So coming back to the topic at hand, Dark Deception multiplayer. Have I ever thought this through? Like, have I ever thought in my wildest dreams that there should be a Dark Deception multiplayer? Or am I gonna get excited for Dark Deception multiplayer ever? Yes, absolutely. You see, the fact of the matter is, the reason I can't get into these Fortnite or Warzone or Apex Legends is that these are battle royale games, you know, 1 in 100. You don't know the strangers, and these are basically based on skills, and these are more like serious games based on fun ideas. But then there are games like Friday the 13th. They are basically for friends only. I know there are some modes in Fortnite, Apex Legends, other ways that you can invite your friends and you can play them, but I just don't like the idea of that. You know, I want the story, and then I would just want, when it comes to multiplayer, I am trash. In Doom Eternal, in single player campaign, I am like the master of everything, but when it comes to these multiplayer, yeah, nah, I had a terrible experience. I tried though, I do survive, but by camping, that's all I do. Anyways, all jokes aside, I want you to focus on a game called Case 2 Animatronics Survival. Now, whatever stance you have on that game of them making profit out of fan game-ish, FNAF, whatever, they have this multiplayer section that I found really, really cool. When I saw the gameplay of it, I was like, dude, this is awesome. I need that. What basically happens in case 2 animatronics is that there are 3 survivors, or night guards, or whatever you want to call them, and then there's 1 animatronic. So basically 4 player, 4 friends, 1 player will be animatronic, and it's gonna be 3 versus 1 or 1 versus 3, whatever you want to call it. There are a bunch of objectives that you need to do during the night whilst making sure that the animatronic doesn't catch you or kill you. This is a very fun idea, and it happened in Friday the 13th as well. Basically, you get the turns, you don't get to be who you want, it's a random generator, and each time somebody is survivor, somebody's animatronic, and it's really cool only if you play with friends. A few months ago, I had this idea of Dark Deception multiplayer. I was like, what if there is a Dark Deception multiplayer? Now, let's just take one thing out. Let's say it is an April Fool's joke. Haha, Vincent Livings, you got us. Good job. I have not seen a single video on Dark Deception multiplayer. This is a big announcement. He said at 58 seconds that it is not an April Fool's joke and nobody's talking about it. I have to jump in. I have to jump into the wagon and I have to start the discussion and debate. Let's say it is April Fool's joke, you got it. But let's get to the alternate timeline. The second scenario. What if there is a Dark Deception multiplayer coming soon? What if there is? Now, there are some other things Vincent Living said. Number 1, that very soon we will get a trailer that shows us what this multiplayer is all about. Now, a couple of things he confirmed. Number 1, that the multiplayer section will be separate and will have nothing to do with the original Dark Deception. So the characters, which we'll come to in just a second, will be from the game, but the lore and story and everything that's going on with the powers and that's going on in the original Dark Deception game will have nothing to do with the multiplayer. These two will be separate. Number 1. Number 2, he said we will learn more about the combat. So that explains that there is a separate combat system that we will have for Dark Deception multiplayer. Now, I just want to give you guys a warning. Don't get your hopes up for this one, but just think of it as a fascinating concept, or not concept, but a fascinating thought of having a Dark Deception multiplayer, because we had on the 1st April BENDY ROYALE that literally got me out of nowhere. You do know if there was a BENDY ROYALE, I would have paid for it, because have you even seen the trailer for that? I have. Anyways, let's talk about this in details, okay? What if there is a multiplayer coming soon? How would the characters look like? What would be the combat, the levels, the areas, the environments, the story? What's going on here? Okay, first of all, if there is a Dark Deception multiplayer, of course, there will be lobbies, just like every other multiplayer. But that's how it works. You need lobbies, you need to make sure that there are enough players in one area to make this work out. Now, can you imagine if there is Dark Deception multiplayer? I will have a ton of content to make on the channel. You guys will be having Dark Deception content left and right until they make Dark Deception sequel, because we know sequel is in the works after the first game, after chapter 5. Once we have nothing after chapter 5, mobile sections is over, we will have to wait for the consoles and the sequel for Dark Deception 2. We can play Dark Deception multiplayer and cover the whole absence of the content. We can play multiplayer. Can you imagine me playing with other fellow Dark Deception content creators? Angelo plays, we could play with him. Mike from Superhero Bro, well, that is an unlikely scenario. V-Gamer, and so many other content creators. That's besides the point. What's on the point, however, that I could do a weekly Dark Deception multiplayer with you guys. Yes, every week we could set up a lobby. I could tell you guys through Discord or YouTube community or even in the videos that, hey, every week this time specifically, there will be a lobby that I will open. You guys can join in. We can play, create content. We can even chat through Discord. Just think of the possibilities that we could do with the multiplayer. Now, enough imagining. Let's talk about the characters. We need MALAK, Doug Hauser, of course. We need all of them, duckies and clowns and monkeys and all the chapter 4 characters as well. How would this work out? How the combat would work out? Let's say if they are making 3 versus 1, 4 versus 1, or maybe 1 versus 1, 1v1, that could also work. Basically, one player will disguise as the monster, the other player will disguise as Doug Hauser. Now, that way, you will have levels. Each levels, you will have to collect shards, and the opponent will have to use traps and other stuff to make sure that Doug Hauser doesn't get everything he wants. That is number 1 scenario. But since it is separate from how the original Dark Deception worked, we could also throw in some shooting stuff, which I probably wouldn't actually hate, but it's not the likely scenario I would go for, because we already have too many shooting multiplayer games. Dark Deception needs to come up with something different, or we don't need soul shards, but we kind of do, because this is Dark Deception after all. So let's say there are soul shards that we need to do, then there are other quests that we could add in for players, and not only one, but we could add 2, 3, maybe even 5 characters that are trying to survive these portals, and each levels will be disguised as portals, and each portal will be, of course, just like we see in the school, hotel. We could do a lot of stuff in multiplayer. The possibilities here are endless. So I'm really hoping, ladies and gentlemen, that this is real, and I'm really hoping that there is a Dark Deception multiplayer in the works that we could do. We could make lobbies, we could play with each other. Just imagine the possibilities. Of course, in the future, I will ask Vincent Livings myself if this is actually true, and if it is true, oh boy, you just wait for all of the good stuff we are going to do in the multiplayer. Now, let me know your thoughts. Do you want a Dark Deception multiplayer? How would you feel about it? What kind of combat section would you like? Characters, levels? Let me know all of that good stuff down in the comments below. We also have JoJo Gang merch unboxing reaction that was uploaded on the Glowstick Entertainment's YouTube channel. Then there are 8 videos separately that I need to talk about. There is a lot of Dark Deception content left and right coming your way this week and the next week, so hopefully I don't get too immersed in Jollibee's Phase 2 because I would lose focus. That game is hard, so if you'll excuse me, I gotta go play Night 2.